So I identify with this. To me, it's like, then I look at this suburban, van in the OC, and I'm like, oh, kill me. But the world lives in suburbia, and the 90% of the people are not living in New York and LA. There is a middle of the country, David. So, I mean, maybe the OC, I'm not giving it enough credit for. I agree with you. It is back to its old school form. And so I like the OC this season better than I have in years. I just feel, do we breathe life into other franchises that need to start over? It's a thing. I mean, are we going to start? And someone asked Andy this on either Twitter and it's posted, it's going around, and they're like, now that this is so successful, I'm like, I'm dying to see numbers. I want to see numbers on Crappie Lake. I love the numbers, and RHONY. But Andy's like, he did like a emoji of like, someone's like, should we reboot other franchises? And he's like, should we reboot Salt Lake, guys, in season 5? I mean, I don't know, Sarah, on this one. Do we have time for one more quick story?
Yeah, so one more.
I think we need to talk about, I think we've buried the lead on this one. I mean, what? Bethenny and Jill.
How do you feel about this? Because you and Jill are friends behind the scenes. This is the first time they've been together in how long? Since Bobby's funeral, right? 4 years ago or something, 3 or 4 years ago. She does. This boosted Bethenny's podcast. It has not been in the top 10. I don't think.
Is it already in the top 10 already?
It's number 1 on the charts for TV and film.
I'm sure. Listen,
time, yeah, she's had that in a while.
This happened right down the street from me. This happened at Bethenny's house in Bridgehampton. I mean, you couldn't have invited me, Jill Zarin. You couldn't have invited me to stay upstairs with Gary and Allie and Paul. Come on, Jill. I thought we were friends. And by the way, Jill, I live down this. You could have picked me up on the way, girl. Listen. When I saw this, and I texted Patty Stanger because Patty's really good friends with Jill, and Patty's like, "What?" Then Patty was calling Jill, and she's like, "She's still at Bethenny's." So I was involved in like real time with this. She's like, "Jill's still at Bethenny's." I'm like, "Did they just finish recording, or are they hanging out now?" Come on, Patty, get me the information.
Yeah, get the scoop.
But look, where do I go with this? Bethenny. My podcast has been charting way higher than hers. She's no shade to Bethenny, but you're right. She's slipped. She's still doing very respectable. I mean, anything in the top 50, anything in the top 200 is great. So it's great. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, this will be number 1. So job well done. Totally smart on Bethenny's part. Smart on Jill's part. Like, why not? I also think it's just one of these, like, look, Jill has wished the girls well. Bethenny says she doesn't want to be a part of anything. I think everyone's wishing this new cast well, but to me, it's just the bigger picture of like, let's not forget, like, we've been there, we've done that. So I think there is this camaraderie now that there's another generation going on of this. Jill and Bethenny are both older than the whole cast. The whole cast, because when Sai came on, I researched this. The whole cast is mid to like 36 to like 42, other than Jenna Lyons, who's 55. So it really, take Jenna out of it, it really is a cast like in their late 30s to early 40s. I just think it's kind of like Queer Eye when you do the second generation, you wish them luck. But it has to it's just a life reminder of, I ain't no spring chicken. Mind you, there's no age shame. David Yontef ain't no spring chicken either. I just think it's more like, I think it brings you together, right? Like, I think Dorinda and Ramona have not spoken, and now, all of a sudden for the past 6 months, they're back in each other's lives. I think it brings you back to like, man, we really fought about stupid stuff. Like, look at the cycle of life, right? That's how I feel.
No, I think that's a perfect assessment. I think that's like a perfect assessment. I mean, I find it, I don't know. Do I believe that these former RHONY cast members really wish the new cast well? I don't, including Bethenny. I don't know. I mean, look, yeah, I mean, I've been on former jobs. It's not that you really wish them unwell, but you're like, oh, good luck. Like, it's going to be really hard to be successful. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't really wish people that well, really.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't think they really wish them good luck either. I mean, let me put it this way. I, in a way, know that. I mean, I've had conversations with, if you take all the ex-RHONYs, I've had conversations with many of them off the record where they're like, oh, fuck them. But it's also, you know, like, for instance, like, people start podcasts and someone's like, oh, look at this person's now started a podcast. Like, honey, like, you don't not only wish them well, but you're also kind of like above it in a sense of like, you have no idea of like what is to come in your life. So it's almost like not even an arrogance, but it's almost like good. Like when a new Bravo podcast starts, I'm like, have at it. You ain't coming for my spot. Like, honey, you've got years. You have no idea. Agents and managers and oh, wait, it's really hard to deal with the Bravo network. Oh, you're a year and a half into this, sweetie. Like, I mean, I couldn't. So it's just like, whatever it is, you're just kind of like, it is an arrogance, not really, but it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. We're so past that. So I agree. You don't wish them luck, really, but also it's like you're so far past it. So I think, look, Jill she admitted on the podcast, she's like, you know, which is I said from day one, I feel I broke this, but I didn't really want to, you know, with Kelly Bensimon was offered more money than Jill, you know, like that's why Jill really, that's the main reason Jill in real time, I knew all this was going on, you know, but Jill really didn't go with Legacy. So I feel like Jill could have been on Legacy. There could have been a Legacy. She says she came up with the idea for Girls Trip New York, and she told Luann, and Luann ran to Andy. I really believe, first of all, good for Jill for saying, like, you know, you offered me little money, I'm not going to do it. That she said she came up with the idea. I don't know. The only thing I thought was interesting, Jill said, you know, would you do this with Carol? Or Carol's name come up, and Bethenny's like, I don't want to do this with Carol. Like, believe it or not, everyone has more beef with Carol than anyone. She's like, I don't want to, you know, listen, Carol's not in this world. Like, at the end of the day, it's like Ramona and Sonja. She's really not. So I thought that was interesting. And maybe because I know certain things. So I've known about this whole Bobby's funeral thing, and Jill didn't sign the release. And so it really came out in real time, I guess, that Bethenny feels that Jill let her know that she hijacked the funeral. Like, Jill says, like, you know, I didn't know Bravo cameras, I didn't realize this was being filmed for the show. Bethenny went to the funeral of Bobby. Jill saw her, thought, my friend Bethenny that I've been estranged from has come because someone has died. She went over to talk to Bethenny. Bethenny was mic'd. Jill wasn't mic'd. Jill didn't realize this was good. So I've known all this just from knowing Jill and Patty. So I guess the world is now seems to be reacting to this. And I'm like, oh, is this a big deal? I just thought everyone knew this. So like Bethenny apparently now is being told on air by Jill, you know, I didn't know you were mic'd. Jill says she found out this was going to be used on the show when the commercials came out. Bravo, she never signed a release, and Bravo aired it saying, Jill Zarin's not going to sue us. Give me a break. So they banked on that. I would have sued. You know me, I'm very litigious if you piss me off. But Bethenny in real time was saying, wait a second, I think I'm going to be sick. Like, you're basically saying to me, like, let's face it, everything Bethenny stands for these days is anti-reality. Like, let me tell you all how it's really made. This is all a sham. They use you and abuse you. So Bethenny's like, you're basically telling me right now that I hijacked a funeral where someone's dead for a fucking reality show. I'm sick. Which, think about it, that is everything against what Bethenny stands for, right? So I thought that was interesting. Not the fact that Jill didn't know, because I already knew it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, I think that makes perfect sense.
Talking a lot today, Sarah.
I love it.
Am I dominating this conversation?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I have to love you and leave you, but it was good because it's taken me a while to get back into it. I think this was great. I love all your